3 o'clock in the morning. You don't wake up. You never truly sleep here. You just drift in and out of a state of exhausted delirium. But something jolts you back to full, horrifying consciousness. A sound. A wet, tearing sound. Inches from your head, you slowly open your eyes. The darkness in the dugout is almost absolute, but a sliver of moonlight catches the glint of movement. Your heart hammers against your ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the cold, damp air. You don't need to see. You know what it is. The rats. They are not like the rats back home. These are different creatures, swollen and monstrous. As big as cats, some men swear. They are bloated from a constant diet of human waste, discarded rations, and the plentiful corpses that litter this landscape. They are the true kings of the trenches. Slowly, you risk a glance. Next to you, on the mud-caked floor, lies what was once a man from your platoon. He was killed yesterday. There was no time, no space, to bury him properly. And now, 2 enormous rats are on his body. They are fighting, tussling over a piece of him. You feel a surge of bile in your throat, but you choke it down. Screaming is a luxury you cannot afford. It wastes energy and attracts attention. You just lie there, paralyzed, listening to the gnawing, the scuffling, the sounds of desecration. This is your alarm clock. This is how your day begins. This is life and death in the trenches of the Great War. And you have another 21 hours to survive. The cold is a physical presence. It seeps through your damp uniform, through your skin, and settles deep in your bones. The dugout, a crude hole scraped into the side of the trench, offers little protection. It smells of damp earth, stale sweat, and the faint, sweet, sickly odor of decay that hangs over everything. You can't escape it. It's the perfume of the front line. You shift your body, and 1,000 tiny needles begin to prickle your skin. The lice. They are everywhere. In the seams of your shirt, in the thick wool of your trousers, in your hair. They are a constant, maddening torment. You can feel them moving, feeding. Later, if you're lucky, you might get a chance to run a lit candle along the seams of your clothes. The lice pop like tiny, greasy firecrackers. But you have to be careful not to set your uniform alight. Some men aren't so lucky. For now, you just endure the itch, the crawling sensation, the knowledge that you are being slowly devoured by microscopic parasites. Every minute in the darkness is an eternity. Your senses are stretched to their breaking point. Every rustle could be an enemy patrol. Every distant shout could be the signal for an attack. The silence is the worst, though. A heavy, pregnant silence, filled with the unspoken terror of thousands of men, crouched in mud, waiting to kill or be killed. Then, a change in the air. A subtle shift in the quality of the darkness. The blackness begins to soften into a deep, bruised purple. Dawn is coming, and with the dawn comes the most dangerous hour. Hour of greatest danger. A voice, low and urgent, whispers down the trench. Stand to. Stand to. The words are passed from man to man, a ripple of tension along the line. You crawl out of your dugout, your limbs stiff and aching. You grab your rifle. The metal is slick and freezing to the touch. You climb onto the fire step, a narrow ledge carved into the trench wall, and peer over the parapet. This is the morning stand to. For 1 hour, every man on the front line is on high alert, rifle in hand, bayonet fixed, staring into the ghostly expanse of no man's land. This is the most likely time for an enemy attack, when the half-light provides just enough cover for an assault. Your eyes strain to see through the swirling morning mist. The landscape is a nightmare of shell craters, shattered trees, and the tangled, skeletal shapes of barbed wire. Here and there, you see other shapes, lumps, bundles of mud-caked uniform, The unburied dead. Some of your own, some of theirs. After a while, you stop telling the difference. The tension is a physical thing. You can taste it in the metallic tang of the air. Your finger is on the trigger. Your knuckles white. Every nerve is screaming. 2%. You watch for any sign of movement from the German lines. Just a few hundred yards away. A flicker of a periscope. The glint of a helmet. Anything. The sky bleeds from purple to a sickly gray. The minutes crawl by. Each one a small victory. The light grows stronger, clearer. The danger, for now, is passing. Then, the order comes again. A sigh of collective relief, whispered down the line. Stand down. You step down from the fire step, your body trembling with a mixture of cold and adrenaline. The immediate threat of an attack has receded, but the day's work is just beginning. The first order of business is the rum ration. A sergeant moves along the trench, doling out a small measure of dark, potent rum into each man's cup. It's not much, but it's a small fire in the pit of your stomach, a brief, blessed warmth that pushes back the gnawing cold. You gulp it down, feeling the heat spread through your chest. For a few moments, you feel almost human again. Then comes breakfast. If you're lucky, a ration party has returned from the rear during the night, stumbling through the communication trenches with heavy sandbags of supplies. The food is monotonous, a constant rotation of the same few items. The staple is bully beef, a tinned corned beef that you hack at with your bayonet. And biscuits, not the soft, crumbly biscuits you remember from home. These are slabs of baked flour and water, so hard they're known as toothbreakers. You can't bite into them. You have to smash them with a rock or the butt of your rifle, then soak the fragments in water or tea to make them edible. Sometimes, you soak them for days. Today, it's bully beef and a smashed biscuit, washed down with a mug of lukewarm tea. The tea tastes of mud and metal, brewed in a large iron container called a Dixie. But it's wet and hot. You eat quickly, hunched in a corner of the trench, guarding your food from the ever-watchful rats. After breakfast, it's time for inspection. An officer, usually a young lieutenant, with a face far too young for the horrors he's seen, walks the line. He checks your rifle. It must be spotless. Your life depends on it. A single speck of mud in the mechanism could cause it to jam at the critical moment. You spend hours every day cleaning it, stripping it down, oiling it, reassembling it. It's the one piece of machinery you can trust in this world of chaos. The officer also checks your feet. He's looking for the first signs of trench foot. This is one of the great fears of the trenches. Standing for days on end in cold, muddy water causes your feet to go numb, then swell, then start to rot. The skin turns blue, then black. The smell is unforgettable. If it gets bad, the flesh can start to fall off, and the only cure is amputation. So you rub whale oil into your feet. You change your socks whenever you can get a dry pair. You do anything to keep the rot at bay. Once inspection is over, the daily chores begin. The trench is a living thing, and it needs constant maintenance. It's a never-ending battle against the mud. The walls are always collapsing. The duckboards, the wooden planks that line the bottom of the trench to keep you out of the worst of the water, are always breaking or sinking into the mire. You spend hours with a pick and shovel, digging, reinforcing the walls with sandbags, trying to keep your temporary home from being swallowed by the earth. Then there's latrine duty. The toilets are often just a deep pit or a bucket in a small recess of the trench. They have to be emptied. It's a foul, disgusting job, but it has to be done. The stench is overpowering, and the risk of disease is constant. But in the twisted logic of the trenches, it's a job that has to be done by someone. And today, it might be your turn. The afternoon brings a different kind of hell. The hell of boredom. If there's no major attack, the hours stretch out in a long, gray expanse of waiting. You are trapped in a narrow, muddy ditch, with nothing to do but think. And thinking is dangerous here. You think about home. You think about your family. You think about the world that exists outside of this stinking, waterlogged cage. You try to write a letter. But what can you say? How can you describe this reality to someone who has never seen it? How can you explain the smell, the sounds, the constant, grinding fear? So you write simple, cheerful lies. I'm doing well. The food is good. Don't worry about me. You might play a game of cards with some of the other men, using a greasy, worn-out deck. You might gamble for cigarettes. You might just sit and stare at the muddy wall of the trench, your mind a numb blank. But the quiet is an illusion. Death is always present. It comes in the form of a sniper's bullet, a single, sharp crack, and the man next to you slumps to the ground. A neat, dark hole in his forehead. You learn to never look over the parapet in the same place twice. You use a periscope, or a small mirror on the end of your bayonet, to see what's happening. But sometimes, a man gets careless, or unlucky. The army has a word for it. Wastage. A cold, clinical term for the steady, daily trickle of death that never stops. Death also comes from the sky. A distant, whistling sound that grows louder and louder, until it ends in a deafening explosion that shakes the very earth. Artillery. The shells can land anywhere, at any time. A direct hit on a dugout means instant obliteration. You just cease to exist. The constant shelling wears you down, shatters your nerves. Some men can't take it. They break. Their minds simply snap under the strain. They call it shell shock. You see men shaking uncontrollably, unable to speak, their eyes wide with a terror that will never leave them. You pray it doesn't happen to you. As the afternoon wears on, you become acutely aware of your own body. The itching of the lice becomes a maddening torment. You try to hunt them. You take off your shirt and run a thumbnail down the seams, crushing the tiny white eggs. But it's a hopeless task. For every one you kill, 100 more are hatching. George Coppard, a machine gunner, remembered how the candle flame made them pop like Chinese crackers, splattering his face with their blood. You feel filthy, infested, less than human. Your feet are cold and wet. You can't feel your toes anymore. You worry about trench foot. You think about the stories you've heard of men whose feet rotted away inside their boots. You try to move around, to keep the blood flowing, but there's nowhere to go. The sun begins to set. The light fades. The sky turns a fiery orange and red. For a moment, it's almost beautiful. But the beauty is a lie. It's a prelude to the horrors of the night. The order comes again. Stand to. You climb back onto the fire step. Your rifle ready. The dusk. Stand to. Another hour of high alert. Another hour of staring into the growing darkness, waiting for an attack that may or may not come. When the stand down is finally called, the trench is plunged into almost total blackness. The night belongs to the enemy. Or rather, it belongs to no one. It's a contested space, a realm of shadows and fear. This is when the real work begins. Under the cover of darkness, work parties are sent out into no man's land. You might be on a wiring party, tasked with repairing the barbed wire defenses in front of your trench. You crawl on your belly through the mud, your hands torn and bleeding from the sharp wire, every sound magnified in the silence. You work in frantic, whispered bursts, praying that the enemy doesn't see you. A single flare, sent arcing into the sky, could illuminate you, turning you into a perfect target for a machine gun, or you might be on a patrol. A small group of men, creeping out into the darkness to gather intelligence, to listen for any signs of enemy activity. Or you might be on a trench raid, a brutal, silent attack on the enemy's front line. You blacken your face with mud or cork. You carry clubs, knives, and grenades. Your goal is to kill or capture enemy soldiers, to spread terror and chaos. It's savage, close-quarters fighting, a desperate struggle in the dark. Many men who go on these raids don't come back. Even if you're not on a work party or a raid, the night offers no rest. Sleep is a lottery. You might get an hour or two, huddled in your dugout, but it's a shallow, restless sleep, punctuated by the sound of shelling, the chatter of machine guns, the screams of wounded men. You are always on edge, always listening. You listen to the sounds of the night, the constant, dull thud of artillery in the distance, the sudden, terrifying crack of a rifle nearby, the chatter of the machine guns, like a mad, stuttering conversation. And the rats, always the rats. You can hear them scuttling in the walls of the trench, rattling the empty tins of bully beef, their squeals echoing in the darkness. The hours of the night are the longest. You are cold. You are hungry. You are exhausted. Your body aches. Your mind is numb. You are living in a state of suspended animation, a half-life of fear and misery. You are no longer a person. You are a creature of the mud, a thing that endures. You think about the absurdity of it all. You are here to kill men you have never met, men who are living in the same squalor, the same terror, just a few hundred yards away. You are both trapped in this elaborate, industrial system of slaughter, and then you hear it again. The scuffling sound, the wet, tearing noise. You open your eyes. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. A new day has begun. Another 24 hours of hell. This was the reality for millions of soldiers in the Great War. A cycle of misery, terror, and endurance that repeated itself. Day after day, week after week, year after year. It was a life stripped bare of all comfort, all dignity, all hope. It was a testament to the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit, and a horrifying monument to the depths of its cruelty. If this story has given you a glimpse into the forgotten reality of the trenches, help me to continue telling these vital stories. A like and a subscription make a huge difference in keeping this history alive for a new generation. See you soon. You look at the faces of the men around you in the gray morning light. They are boys, mostly. Farmers, factory workers, clerks. Their faces are caked with mud, their eyes hollow and old. You see a characteristic shrugging of the shoulders, a gesture you've come to know well. It's the body's involuntary reaction to the lice, a constant, futile attempt to dislodge the tormentors. Lieutenant Sheriff at Passchendaele noted it among his men. Their shirts full of lice, their faces gray and worn from weeks without proper washing. The day's fatigues are distributed. You are assigned to a carrying party. Your task is to bring supplies from the reserve trenches up to the front line. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most dangerous jobs. The communication trenches are narrow, winding, and often flooded. You have to move in a constant crouch to avoid sniper fire. You load up with heavy boxes of ammunition, or sandbags filled with rations. The weight is immense, your shoulders ache, and the muddy, treacherous ground tries to suck the boots from your feet with every step. The journey is a slow, agonizing crawl. You pass other men, their faces grim and set. You pass the wounded, being carried back on stretchers, their groans a constant, low soundtrack to your work. You pass the dead, tucked into recesses in the trench wall, waiting for a burial party that may never come. The smell is a physical assault. The cloying sweetness of rotting flesh. The sharp tang of chloride of lime used to try and mask it. The stagnant, foul water. The smell of unwashed bodies. It all blends into a single, overpowering stench of death. As you work, the sounds of the front line become a symphony of destruction. You learn to distinguish the different sounds of the shells. There's the high-pitched whistle of the whiz-bangs, small caliber shells that arrive almost without warning. There's the mournful, freight train roar of the heavy shells, the ones that can obliterate a dugout and everyone in it. You learn to throw yourself flat in the mud when you hear that sound, praying it's not meant for you. The ground shakes constantly. A low, persistent tremor from the distant guns. It feels like the world is having a seizure. By midday, you have finished your carrying duties. You are soaked in sweat and mud, your muscles screaming in protest. You find a relatively dry spot in the trench and collapse. Now, the boredom returns, but it's a different kind of boredom. It's the boredom of a man who has been pushed to the very limit of his endurance. Your mind feels thick and slow. You try to read a letter from home, the paper worn and soft from countless readings. The words seem to come from another planet, another lifetime. Your mother writes about the garden, your father about his work. It's a world of peace and sanity that you can no longer connect with. You see a group of men huddled together, their heads close. They are chatting, not talking, chatting. It's the term for picking lice from each other's clothes. It's a social ritual, a moment of shared misery and camaraderie. One man holds his shirt up, while another runs a thumbnail down the seams, crushing the lice and their eggs. It's a disgusting, intimate act, but it's one of the few ways you can fight back against the filth that consumes you. Later, a man brings out a pack of greasy cards. A game of pontoon starts. The stakes are cigarettes, the most valuable currency in the trenches. The banter is low and cynical. Gallows humor is the only kind that survives here. You laugh at jokes that would make a civilian's blood run cold. It's a defense mechanism, a way of keeping the madness at bay. But the madness is always there, just below the surface. You see a man staring blankly at the trench wall, his hands trembling. He's a new replacement, just arrived yesterday. He hasn't learned how to shut his mind down yet. You know that if he doesn't learn soon, he won't last. The shell shock will get him. The afternoon is punctuated by the random cruelty of the sniper. You hear the crack of a rifle, and a man who was just telling a joke slumps forward, a red flower blooming on his chest. There's no ceremony. You pull his body into a corner, cover his face with his helmet, and carry on. You can't afford to grieve. Grief is a luxury. You just add his name to the long list in your mind, the ghosts you will carry with you forever. As evening approaches, the kitchen staff manages to send up some hot food. It's a thin, greasy stew, probably mekanochi, the infamous tinned concoction of turnips and carrots. Warmed in the tin, it's barely edible. Cold, it's a man killer, but it's hot, and you eat it gratefully, scooping it out of the tin with your spoon. It's another small fire in your belly, another small victory against the cold and the hunger. The dusk stand to feels different from the morning one. The darkness is not a promise of relief, but a prelude to danger. The world shrinks to the few yards of trench around you. The sounds of the night begin. The rustle of the wind through the barbed wire. The distant, mournful cry of a wounded man in no man's land. A sound you have learned to ignore, because to try and help him would be suicide. And the rats, always the rats. Their confidence growing with the darkness. Tonight, you are on sentry duty. 2 hours on, 4 hours off. You stand on the fire step. Your senses on a knife's edge. You are the eyes and ears of the trench. You stare into the blackness, your imagination populating it with 1,000 moving shapes. Is that a German patrol? Or just a bush swaying in the wind? Is that the sound of wire cutters? Or just a rat scuttling through the debris? The strain is immense. Your eyes burn from staring into the dark. Your body is rigid with tension. During your watch, a flare goes up. The landscape is suddenly illuminated in a brilliant, deathly white light. You freeze, pressing yourself against the wall of the trench, hoping you are invisible. The light reveals the full horror of no man's land. The craters, the wire, the dead. It's a photograph from hell, burned into your memory. Then, the light dies, and the darkness rushes back in. even deeper and more menacing than before. After your 2 hours are up, you are relieved. You stumble back to your dugout, your mind and body screaming for rest. You fall into a shallow, dream-filled sleep. You dream of home, of green fields and warm beds. But the dreams are always invaded by the sounds and smells of the trench. You dream of rats with human faces, of shells that scream your name. You are woken by a runner. A trench raid is being organized. They need volunteers. You hesitate for a moment. It's a near-suicidal mission. But the thought of doing something, of taking the fight to the enemy, is a powerful lure. It's a way to break the monotony, to reclaim a sliver of agency. In this world of powerlessness, you volunteer. You blacken your face with burnt cork. You are given a trench club, a brutal, primitive weapon. You check your grenades, your knife. You move silently with the other raiders to the designated point in the line. The plan is whispered. A quick, violent assault on a German listening post. Kill or capture, and get back before they can organize a counterattack. You crawl over the parapet, your heart pounding. The mud of no man's land sucks at you, cold and greedy. You move from shell hole to shell hole, the stench of old death thick in your nostrils. You are no longer a soldier. You are a predator, a hunter in the dark. You reach the German wire. It's been cut in a previous patrol. You slip through the gap. The German trench is just yards away. You can hear them talking, their voices low and guttural. For a moment, you realize they are just men, like you, cold, scared, and miserable. But that thought is a weakness. You crush it. They are the enemy. It's you or them. The signal is given. A low whistle. You rise as one and charge. A silent wave of death. You leap into their trench. There are shouts of alarm, confusion. You swing your club. You feel it connect with something solid. A sickening crunch. You don't think. You just act. It's a whirlwind of brutal, intimate violence. A grenade explodes, the flash momentarily blinding you. You grab a terrified German soldier, his eyes wide with shock, and drag him back towards your lines. The raid is over, in less than a minute. You scramble back through the mud, dragging your prisoner with you. Machine guns open up from the German line, their bullets zipping past you in the dark. You dive into your own trench, your lungs burning, your body shaking with adrenaline. You have survived. You have brought back a prisoner. You are a hero, for a few minutes, at least. But the adrenaline fades, and the exhaustion returns, heavier than before. You are left with the memory of the crunch of the club, the look in the German soldier's eyes. You have killed a man, up close. You have seen the life go out of him. It's another ghost to add to your collection. You are given an extra ration of rum for your bravery. You drink it down, but it doesn't warm you. It just numbs the shaking in your hands. You crawl back to your dugout. You close your eyes. You try not to think. You try not to feel. And then, you hear it. That sound. That wet, tearing sound. You open your eyes. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. A new day has begun, and you have survived another 24 hours of hell.